What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larson, and you're listening to another episode of Secret MLM Hacks Radio. So here's the real mystery. How do real MLMers like us, who didn't cheat and only bug family members and friends, who want to grow a profitable home business, how do we recruit A players into our downlines and create extra incomes, yet still have plenty of time for the rest of our lives? That's the blaring question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Steve Larson, and welcome to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. All right, you guys, I've been busy at work here, putting out tons of stuff, trying to put lots of content out, and trying to help you guys understand how I approach the MLM world. Now, if you're brand new to this podcast, know that the purpose of what I'm doing right now is documenting kind of the creation of my next product in the MLM field so that you know how to use these tactics to sell your own MLM products and to basically sell people into your own downline, okay? So right now what I've been doing, though, is I just recently, not recently, a lot of you guys probably already are on it, but in at secretmlmhacksradio.com, I give a pretty awesome thing away, and it's something that I used to charge for, and it's 5 different videos that basically teach you how to sell and duplicate more people into your downline, right? But how to do it in a way that makes you seem like a new opportunity rather than something that's readily available all over the place. I mean, you could walk down the street and basically ask anyone if they're in an MLM, and I bet you could find, you don't have to go very far to find out somebody else who has the same thing that you have, right? And that's discouraging because you're the same as everybody else, right? So you got to do something that's different. Somehow you got to create new value out there, right? Anyway, so I've been really stoked about this. I have been in the internet game for quite a while, and probably about I don't know if I can put any years to it, actually, because I've dabbled around a lot, but what I'm really stoked about is that secretmlmhacksradio.com currently has a 68% conversion rate, and it's bouncing between 68% and about 70.6% conversion rate. That's ridiculous. And just so you know, there are hundreds of people that have hit it. It's not like only 5 people have hit it, and that's the conversion rate. It's like 500-ish, I believe that's the number, have hit that page. And it means that 70% of those people have opted in for the free course that I give them, and I've been watching it and got value out of it. That's ridiculous, by the way. It is not easy to do that, and I honestly have never had a page convert that high for anything, and I'm laughing so hard that it is converting that well, because it's usually very hard to even get, depending on what you do, even 30% conversion rates, which is quite good in the internet marketing space. So I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. So I kept thinking, like, okay, what else can I do to create culture? And I want you to start thinking about how you do this in your own MLMs, in your own downlines. When the money is in the follow-up, right? The money is always in the follow-up. I was recently interviewing a gentleman for a separate podcast show that I do, and he was telling a story about how he has been building internet sales funnels for real estate agents. And what he learned and what he realized, that there were several different people out there who they only get just a few leads on purpose. They only want 16 leads a month, just 16. That's it. Their follow-up sequence is so good that any more than 16 and they can't handle it. Like, what? Only 16 leads? Like, what on earth? But they call 3 times a day. They text 3 times a day. They email 3 times a day. They treat that individual like gold. And you have to remember that anytime anyone comes to you and says, hey, what's this MLM thing you're a part of? What is it that you do? How come this is something you're so passionate about? You guys, they're trying to become a lead. All you got to do is bait the hook a little bit and invite them to be a lead, right? And when they've done that, remember that they asked you to do that, right? Don't get bossy. Don't become that guy at the party. Don't become that guy at family reunions. You know what I mean? Don't get annoying. But remember that sometimes people are just busy. And what's funny is one of my buddies, when he started testing this, and he's like, hey, yeah, in this industry, he's like, literally every single time, what happens is when you do that and you are that forward about what it is that you do in your follow-up process to your leads, he's like, it's funny, let's say that you had 5 people that you were talking with, right? 5 people that you're talking with, and you're calling literally every single day, maybe even 3 times. You're texting 3 times a day. No joke. It sounds and feels like a lot, but to that individual, you guys, how busy are you? I mean, how many times do you forget to do simple things around the house, right? It's very much the same way. He said, of the 5, you'll lose 1 because they get annoyed. But he's like, the rest of them, honestly, the biggest thing they always say is like, I'm so sorry it has taken me so long to get back to you, right? And don't be snooty about it. Don't be like, well, I expect you to join. Yeah, you are coming from a position of value. You're coming to that individual and you're saying, hey, I'm trying to add value to the life. And you don't just say that, actually do it, right? You care about the person. Just because I'm in internet marketing does not mean I take the human out of this machine, right? The human element. It's all about value building. It's all about beliefs. It's all about helping people understand that there is more to life, right? And so create for yourself a follow-up process. Create culture, right? Create for yourself a place where people can go and learn more about you, where it can remove you out from, I love creating tools and third-party stuff because I don't have to sit in front of them. And, if they're feeling a little bit awkward at first, or they got some walls up, I don't need to be sitting in front of them saying, here, and shoving stuff down their throat. You know what I mean? And so what I did is I went and I created a Facebook page called, if you go to facebook.com/secret MLM hacks, you'll see there's about 800 people on there. I actually got rid of about 500 of them because I only wanted people who were interactive. I don't want people who are just chilling on there. I wanted the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So I actually just got rid of 500 people on that Facebook page. So right now we are a lively group of 300 people, and it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm trying to build culture. Right? I'm trying to help people realize that there is a place on the internet that they can go and not feel like they're just going to get spammed to death by like fake robot comments on the internet. Because the Facebook right now, that's really what that is for the MLM space, So anyway, there's one of my favorite books, I'm sure I've talked about it before on this podcast, but it's called Expert Secrets, and it's by Russell Brunson. And what it is a book that teaches you how to create culture. That's just one part of it. But in there, he states that in order to create culture, you've got to be able to give people a place to set their eyes up onto. Does that make sense? You need to be able to you got to be able to say, hey, here's the flag. Here's where y'all trying to get, right? It's you placing the flag up on the mountain. So when you're talking to prospects, you're talking to people who are out there who want to, get into your opportunity, whatever it might be, or even just who show a little bit of interest, place that flag up there for them. Say, yeah, what is $10,000 extra a month worth to you? You know what I mean? Like, what would you do with that? Or do you imagine having that kind of money? That's ridiculous, right? I don't know. You start getting them to talk. Don't. Here's another little sales tip. Whoever talks the most usually is the one that loses. It was that way when I was a door-to-door salesman, when I was a telemarketer, anytime I've done any kind of sales position. And so find about the person. Get value. Go out there and try and provide value for the individual. That's the only reason why that page right now is 68% conversion rate, is because it is valuable. I know it's valuable. I did used to charge for it. And honestly, it still is part of other things where people do pay for it, and I'm giving away for free. You know what I mean? That's really valuable. And what it helps people do, there's massive value behind it. And I've had a ton of people get so excited about it. This podcast has only been up and live for about 2 months now at this point of me recording this, but I know that people really enjoyed it. So anyway, as you go, create for yourself a culture of value. Do not create for yourself a culture of cutthroat, hard dial everyone inside your phone book, until they're inside your downline. Don't do that kind of stuff. A lot of people do that. I can't stand that. A lot of people can't stand that. And that's honestly where a lot of the bad rap from MLM gets. And if I find out you're that kind of person, I'll kick you from the group. You know what I mean? Like, I'm that serious about it. I'm that passionate about it. I am trying to help change the MLM industry and the reputation that it has. That is what I'm trying to do. That's the culture that I'm trying to build. So I invite you to come over to the facebook.com/secret MLM hacks. But just know that if you come there to self-promote or try and sell things to people, like, I'm going to kick you out. Like, that's the rules of the culture. That's the rules of the group. There's no leeway on that at all. You do it one time, you're gone. You know what I mean? But what's funny is, what am I doing right here? The same thing I'm doing right here. I'm calling it out so that you know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I'm creating rules for the group. I'm creating culture. There's rules inside of it. I'm creating reputation, right? I'm creating polarity. If I don't take a stand and say, this is what I believe, if I don't take a stand and I say, and stand back and go, you know what? I'm trying to please everybody. Well, guess what, guys? That means you please absolutely nobody, right? Figure out who it is, who you are, and figure out what you stand for and start being more loud about it. And when you do that, culture becomes really easy to create. It becomes so easy because you start to attract people to you. The internet is just a big group of congregations. And if you want people to come to you and your MLM and your downline, online or offline, get really, really, really vulnerable about what you believe. And people will start to follow you. They will be attracted to you. Does that make sense? This was huge when I figured this out, when I realized that I shouldn't be trying to please everybody. I don't care that I do or I don't, right? I shouldn't be. What I need to be doing, what you need to be doing is get really, really honest with yourself, with the people around you, what you're trying to create, and go, look, I hate this. I love this, and create opinions. The goal of the MLM space is not for you to start highlighting your strengths. It's not. All right. Now, in the product and the way you sell, like, you can do that kind of stuff. But as far as your culture goes, as far as people following you, as far as you becoming a leader, it is not about highlighting your strengths. It is all about highlighting your differences. Does that make sense? It's all about that. Because if you don't do that, you sound like everybody else who doesn't want to be a leader, who doesn't want to make money, who doesn't want to have impact on the planet. Income and impact. That's what we're all going for. Income and impact, right? But if you stand there and you're like, yeah, well, I'm that way too. Well, I'm that way too. Everybody's that way. It's easy to highlight that strength because it's something that speaks to everybody. But what makes you different? And when you stand back and you start going, okay, now I know what makes me different, that's good. And you find that out by just starting to share at least what you've gotten ideas on. I hope you're following what I'm saying with this, okay? There's this really interesting phenomenon that happens in internet marketing, psychology in general, sales in general, MLM in general, that if you stand back and you try and become a generalist out of you protecting yourself, nobody will follow you. You will not become a leader. If you stand up, though, and you start highlighting your differences, 68% conversion rate. You know what I mean? If you start highlighting your differences, figure out what it is. Man, get freaking opinionated. Stop standing back going in the back and being afraid of offending people. Man, people choose on their own to get offended. Don't worry about that crap, all right? People get offended on their own. It is a feeling, an emotion that they choose to accept and start to feel on their own. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, I could try my best to offend other people, and that's not good either. But man, stand out and stand up and start going, you know what? This is what I believe. This is what I'm going for. If you are with me, follow me. And when you stand up with that kind of confidence, when you stand up with that kind of assurity, right? People follow you. Your sales message doesn't need to be as polished when you're that confident. When you have absolute certainty. There was a fantastic, he's a great motivational speaker and a great coach. His name is Satema. I really appreciate him and what he teaches. And he teaches that confidence is actually for children. If you want people to follow you, you need to maintain absolute certainty. Does that make sense? So you go and you create absolute certainty. That's different than confidence. That's another level up. A leader, someone who will follow you, it is because you have absolute certainty. Even if you're dead wrong, you know what I mean? That certainty is that powerful. And so what you do is you stand up and you create a culture of value, create a culture of being able of actually helping people and actually caring for people. Don't look at them like a dollar sign. And you can create yourself this awesome community where a downline can grow. You look at it like a garden box. When I was growing up, my dad used to make me go stand out and every Saturday, and no joke, I literally would pick weeds for like 6 hours every single Saturday. And it was awful sometimes, but man, it taught me to work, right? And eventually I learned to like it. And eventually I built a business around it when I was a teenager. And eventually I went, you know what I mean? And I grew up because he provided the environment. This is no different. You need to provide an environment where a downline can thrive. But most of you don't do that. You create a downline and understand, I'm probably preaching to the choir if you're listening to this podcast. A lot of you guys, though, if you're coming out and you're saying, hey, yeah, come join, and you never talk to them again, or you never create an environment where they can grow and thrive, you're not duplicatable. I don't care if you have an internet system that helps you automate your downline or not, like I do. If you have no other follow-up or no other communication, then it's going to die. If you have no follow-up at all, if you're not calling up those leads, if you're not calling up people who already did join the downline, if you're not creating a culture of value, if you're not actually helping, you know what I mean? Then you're going to fail with it. So anyways, that's my podcast today. I just wanted you guys to know, I'm really stoked. If you haven't seen the page before, go to secret MLMHacksRadio.com and watch the video. Watch what I'm doing. Watch why I'm doing it, because the same strategy that I'm using right there is also the same strategy that's used to sell $1 million worth of products. You know what I mean? Over and over and over and over again, and which has been really fun. I've had a chance to be part of. So there's a lot of psychology and marketing behind it, and I know that you guys can do it, but sometimes you just got to grow a pair. You understand? Maintain absolute certainty, figure out what you want, get very clear about it, and start highlighting those differences. Publish those differences. Don't be afraid of it. And if someone doesn't align with you, that's okay. Be okay with it. That's okay. That's why we're all different. There are many different voices in the choir of life. You know what I mean? We're all different people, and that's totally fine. And it's going to be way easier on your sales. It's going to be way easier on what you're trying to do, where you're trying to steer people, if you find like-minded people. And one of the easiest ways to do it is for you to get clear on what you believe and start highlighting those differences, not your strengths. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Go check out that page if you want to see how I'm getting the 68% conversion rate right now. It's still going up, which is awesome, but I think you really, really enjoy it. We're having hundreds of people hit the page right now, and it's going great. So anyway, this is me. I'm still documenting the creation of this product and where I am, and I think you'll enjoy it. So anyways, please subscribe to the podcast. I'd love to hear if you could go into iTunes and review it, that would be fantastic. It helps me, helps everybody, and it just really gets me motivated, which is exciting. Also, if you have a question that you want to have asked and answered on top of this radio show, go to secretmlmhacksradio.com and opt in, and on the very next page, you can record a voicemail straight off your browser to me, which I then put inside of the podcast. All right, guys, thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Would you like me to teach your own downline 5 simple MLM recruiting tips for free? If so, go download your free MLM Masters Pack by subscribing to this podcast at secretmlmhacksradio.com.